news that is just coming in right now. The Prime Minister has just told the French President Emmanuel Macron. This, remember, is in the wake of Australia's cancellation of a submarine deal with France. The French President Emmanuel Macron has discussed cooperating over the Indo-Pacific region with Prime Minister Modi, as France, remember, now is dealing with the fallout from Australia's cancellation of the French submarine order. But what really does this mean, and how do you look at this big story in a global perspective? I want to say good evening to Dr. Sriram Cholia, who joins us right now on the broadcast. You know, Sriram, AUKUS has been a point of debate, a point of concern. You're looking at, France cancelling that entire order. Now, India has spoken to the French president. What's really going on? You know, when you talk of between AUKUS, the prime minister's leaving for the US tomorrow, how do you see this issue actually, going up from here?
Well, Deepthi, I would say that firstly, we want both France and Australia. We do not believe in abandoning one and keeping the other. So this rift that's emerged over the submarine deal has really muddied the waters as far as our comprehensive Indo-Pacific strategy goes. We have a long-standing partnership with France, but recently we have also created a trilateral, France, Australia, India. What happens to our trilateral now? I mean, if France and Australia are at odds over because of the US's shenanigans with the submarine deal, it really changes the dimensions for us because we are not able to put up a united front to counterbalance China. So I think that's why Prime Minister is making an effort to reach out to Emmanuel Macron and to try and bring him around, because if France is not jointly doing this with us and with Australia, it will weaken one element of our Indo-Pacific strategy. Of course, we have Quad, but even with Quad, Australia and India are both members in it. But remember, we have been doing joint exercises with France until now, until this row has erupted. So there was the La Perouse exercises we did earlier this year in the Indian Ocean region with France. So it became Quad Plus. Now, if France is not going to be with Quad, and if France is going to be upset with the US and with Australia, that's bad news for us, because France has assets in this region. It has got territories, it has got a population, and our Navy was going to use French islands in the Indian Ocean region and beyond to be able to project power and to challenge China. So I think they're trying to make amends. I think India can be a bridge builder between the US and Australia on one side and France on the other side, because if these Western countries are all at loggerheads with each other, it means there is no grand coalition to counterbalance China. And if there is no grand coalition, we are all going to lose. So I think it's very important that we try to play a bridge builder, because we have strategic partnership with all these.
But Sriram,
with France.
Sriram, I have a question. Sriram, this is about India, actually trying to mend the ties, so-called ties between France and the US, considering, if you go back, I think, into history, we do remember when France actually pulled out of NATO. Not that, France and the US does enjoy a very cordial relationship, but I also want to, pull you back to the Indian context. Now, what really works for India right now? And, this entire issue of AUKUS, I do remember the MEA was asked this question and the foreign secretary actually said that, we have nothing to say about this at the moment. There was a question asked by a journalist whether India was, made aware of such kind of a deal. And I think the answer is no.
Yeah, I think Biden in many ways is reflecting, the Trump habits, and he's continuing to do a bit of the America First type of policy making. So it's been a disappointment because we have not been consulted on some things which are of great importance to us strategically, because the Indo-Pacific strategy hinges upon, as I said, the unity of all the actors, the Europeans, the US, and the Australians. All of us should be on one platform, but that was not to be because of the commercial, considerations of the US, because they wanted to sell their submarines and to get a big defense contract. And this came at the cost of the unity of all the players in the Indo-Pacific. So I think for India, we would want the US to understand our concerns, because we are doing joint exercises with all of them now. And we don't want now for it to become fragmented. We were looking for Quad Plus. We were wanting more and more members to join this institution so that it becomes a formidable front to push back the Chinese. Now, the Chinese must be laughing because they love the friction that they are seeing between the US and Australia on one side and France on the other. So and also remember, we also have wanted nuclear submarines. The US denied it to us.
Absolutely.
Now they are going to give it to Australia. So if France has got submarines that they want to give us, we would be keen to take them. So it's becoming, it's becoming more complex, but ultimately it should be a simple, unified front. And I think ultimately our goal is to create that kind of a broad-based coalition. And that should be our objective in dealing with both France on one side and with the US and Australia. And Prime Minister will try to probably convey the message from France to the US when he meets President Biden in the White House in the next few days.
Yes, so Sriram, the next few days, extremely important. Look forward to talking to you again. For the moment, thank you.